Hey guys, so today we're going to create a sort of repeating animation, one that's sort of meant to kind of cycle through over and over again, and one that you could hopefully um, sort of reuse and apply to different animations. And I'm going to show you an example of how to do that later on. But if you recall the previous animation step-by-step thing we had, frame-by-frame thing we had a ball that was actually cycling through its various bounces. In this case, it's just going straight down. It's impacting the ground or whatever it's landing on, and then it's going straight up. And so in this case, we're going to be probably manipulating. It's only a few keyframes here. We're probably going to be manipulating our shape and our position at the same time in lieu of just the shape, and we'll apply this to a little typography later on. But let's just jump right into it. So the first thing we'll do obviously is open up Premiere and then just drop in our two objects here. So let's see, make sure we're still in business. All right, and so we'll do what we did before. We'll add a new color matte. So we'll go into color matte, and in this case, we'll make it 1920 by 1080, and we'll stick with 24 frames a second, and press OK. And this time, I'm going to make this a really bright green, because we're going to key this out later. Maybe not so bright, just bright enough to where we can sort of see the ball, but bright enough to be distinguishable. So I'll press OK. And it doesn't really matter necessarily what color it is, but I'm using green because green just seems to be, what we kind of equate with keying things out. So I'm going to pop this in here, and we'll just zoom in to where we can see about a second in. And this will be a bit faster, just because we've done something similar to this before. So I'll just I'll expand my little keyframe illustrations. This was one I just found online. Whoever this person is over here, who did this drawing in 2012, did a great job. And I'll just drag in the ball. And once again, I'll sort of reduce the opacity of this so we can see the ball just a bit better. %or so. All right, and so once again, I'll just shrink this down to fit the ball, the drawings here, and center this in. And we can start into the actual animation process. So once again, we see the ball is changing shape. It's going from like perfectly round to somewhat ovoid to these real thin. As it reaches its terminal velocity, it's going to then suddenly it's going to hit and it's going to squish. Now you notice here we've actually got like these two shapes here, right? And then we've got this shape here, and then this round shape here. These two shapes are going to be on the way up. So we're going to go straight down. We're going to hit. Then we're going to squish. And then we're going to come back up. We're going to get fully round. We're going to launch back up. And then we're going to hit back to this little shape here. So I think on the way down, we'll just we'll go from here to here, and then on the way back up, we'll go from here to this one right here. And like I said before, it'll all come out in the wash. All right, so let's just start in by putting our keyframes for both our position and our scale, and let's get our uniform scale turned off, and we'll just do this one frame at a time. So I'm just going to advance forward. And I'm going to pull down the position just by using the Y coordinates. I'm just going to click and drag and just pull that down slightly. Right about there. And then I'm just going to pull my scale height up slightly. Just a little bit. Well, let's see if I can click and drag. All right. And then I'll pull my scale width down just a little bit. Maybe to like 40% or something like that. Okay, if I can do this fast enough, say 40%, 42%, that's good. All right, we'll go to the next keyframe here, and we'll just keep doing that. We'll just drag the position down some. we'll pull the height up slightly. See, I'll just put 55 here, and I'll put 40 here. All right, and then we'll go to the next frame, drag it down some more, shrink the width down some, just where it centers in. Go to the next keyframe, drag it down to right about, say, here. And we'll go down further. Right about there. To the second one. And we'll make it really thin. Very elliptical. Now drag up the height substantially here. Maybe 70. All right, and then we'll blast down to the very bottom where we start to squish. We'll shorten the height substantially. We'll pull the length out a good deal. The next keyframe, we'll pull the height down even further. And we'll probably drop it down some, pull the position down, and then we'll lengthen it out even more. And then we'll just repeat that previous keyframe here. So we'll just copy the same values we had before. So if I were to go forward here, I could put in, obviously I could just put in new keyframes, but oh, I'm missing a height one here somewhere. That's okay, we'll go back and see. But if I were to go, say for instance, let me just put a keyframe in here. Actually, instead of doing that, what I can do is I can just copy these right here. So I'm just going to highlight these keyframes, hold down Control, and just highlight these keyframes. Then hold down Control and press C, and then hold down Control and press V, and then that'll paste those keyframes there. All right, and so then the next step, I'll just pull this up, and let's see what was the previous height at the beginning. It was 45.8 for both. So we'll go to 45.8, 45.8, and we'll just drag this up to where it's lined up with there. And notice that even though I'm not like exactly on the center line here, I'm not actually trying to correct it because I want it to stay in a straight line here. So I want it to make it seem like it's bouncing up and down. And then we'll go to the next keyframe as we're picking up speed and we're starting to form a little more ovoid here. I'll pull the width down some, or I'll pull the height up, width down, and then we'll launch upwards towards this upper reach here. All the way up to this top spear-like one. All right, and then we'll just copy these keyframes here. So for this one, well, actually, not those. Well, yeah, we'll copy those. So let's look here. I want to say I should probably pull the height down some for this one. All right, so I'll just copy these three keyframes and I'll hold down one, hold down Control, and copy these, put them right there. All right, for the next one, I'll just grab these right here, 2, 3, copy, Control C, go over one keyframe, Control V, same deal here, copy these, Control, holding down Control, clicking those, Control C, and then Control V, and then I'll grab the last one here, Control C, Control V. All right, so we're gonna have like a second of delay. I'm just gonna drag this back, and I'm gonna repeat this pattern a few times here. I'm just going to hold down the Alt key. I'm just going to drag this little clip out. And what I'll do is I'll just continue to sort of Alt drag and then select everything. Alt drag. And let's see if we can't get this to about 5 seconds. Maybe a little bit more. Let's drag this out. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. All right, looks fun. All right, let's go back to fit here. All right, so looks really good. All right, it's just bouncing up and down. Look at it go. All right, so that's not the end of it. The ultimate thing I want to do is I want to have this be bouncing around and sort of interacting with different things. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start a new sequence. And HDV 1080p 30 frames a second. I want to say probably 24 frames a second because we were using 24 frames a second earlier. So I'll press OK, and I'm just going to drag this sequence here into it, right about here. I'll change the sequence settings just to match. So we've got that going on, and then off, somewhere over here, what I'll do is I'm going to put in. I'll put in another color matte. How about this? We'll put in a black color matte that's 1920 by 1080. Drag that in. Let me zoom in some. I'll even that out. And we'll just toggle that out for now. And what I'll do is I'm going to get my text tool and I'm going to add 3 letters. So whatever letters you want, you can add. I'm gonna say, well, we'll start off one letter at a time. We'll see. I'll start off with A. I'll make that a good deal bigger. Go down to my text options here in Effect Controls. Lemon Milk Bold's good. And what I'll do is I will change the fill to black. And let me just highlight this first. So change the fill to black. And then I'll change the stroke to white. And I'll make this a good deal bigger. All right, and I'll pull the stroke up a little bit so I can see the stroke a bit better. So over here where it says 1.0 next to stroke, we'll pull that up to where it's something like 5. Maybe 10. All right, that's good. Okay, so I've got A, and I'm going to just spell out ACE. So I'm going to just pull this color matte up here. I'm just going to Alt drag this up to where I have 2 of these. I'm just gonna take the color matte out for now, and I'll get my tool here. I'll just drag this across, and I'll change this to C. You can change it to whatever you like. And I'll drag this up as well. I'll drag this across here. I'll just get my move tool. I'll drag this across. Actually, wait. I'll just drag this across here, and I'll change this to E. And then we could just sort of position them to wherever we wanted to. So if I wanted to make this more in the center, let me get my safe margins here. I'll make sure my C is centered. Move this to the center here. And then we'll arrange everything else around it. Okay. All right. So with that done, what I'll do is I'm going to, let me just pull my on here. I'm going to apply an effect, and the effect is going to be called invert. So let me find effects. Let me find invert. Invert. So this is under channel, invert. I'm just going to apply it to each one. you notice that they go from black to white, you know, it kind of shows up. Essentially what I want to do is just have the invert kind of appear. I want this to kind of turn on whenever the ball hits the letter. So for each one, I'm going to take the invert over here, and I'm going to blend it with the original. So find your letter. So for one by one, with your blend with the original, I'm just going to pull it up to 100%, 100%, and I'm going to put the keyframes on. So they're going to start off, and you could even just go so far as just to like copy this and just select both and paste attributes. Well, you have to affect the keyframes. Anyway, we'll just down here. So what I just did. All right, so down here, find invert, blend with original, 100. Find here, the E, blend with original, 100. Turn on the keyframes. All right, now let's find the bouncing ball. Let's find over here. Let's pull the sequence in, and we'll just you know, I wonder if we can probably just delete the color map, honestly. And we go back to sequence 1. Now it's kind of hanging out there. All right, cool. All right, so that's sort of chilling there on top. I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna get my my motion here. I'm just gonna move this to where it's hanging out over here, and it's gonna bounce a couple times before it moves over. So I'm gonna get my position keyframes on, and I'm just gonna drag. I'm gonna play this for a second, so it's gonna bounce. Okay, let me just drag this ball down, pull this down. Let me actually kind of move over to where it's the base of its jump, and I'm just gonna drag this down to about the same level as the base of the letters. All right, and then I'm gonna have it bounce a couple times here. So 1, 2, all right, right about there. All right, so I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna have this move over on top of the A, and then I'm gonna have it hit the top of the A, and then as soon as it hits the top of the A, I'm gonna have the A switch on, as it were. So what we'll do is this. Get another keyframe here. I'm going to advance a few frames forward, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there until it hits the peak of its jump. Right? So peak of its jump. I'm going to move it around. I'm going to move it to where it's actually more like around over here. And then I'm going to have it fall as soon as it hits the base of its jump. There. I'm going to have it land on top of the A's. And then same deal, as it rises up, it's the peak of its jump. I'm going to have it come over the C. And then as it falls, I'm going to have it land on top of the C. And then you notice I'm not really doing anything with the keyframes because we're actually automatically adding keyframes as we go through. Over here with the E. Pull it over. On top of the E. Right there. Okay. And then we'll just pull it over this way. Top of the peak of the jump. Oh no. This way here. And then as it reaches its base, I'll just have it just rocket downwards until it hits there. And then we'll just have it sitting there bouncing for a few more beat bounces. All right. Okay, so let me just pull this forward to where everything matches up. Everything lasts the same length, a little more than 5 seconds. Now, this is where it gets fun. We're going to go through each one of these letters, and we're going to have its keyframe, have it, you know, shall we say, invert go back to 0 as soon as the ball strikes. So go through a few frames here as it bounces up over and lands on the A right there. Okay, so once it lands on the A, this is where it's going to go on. So I'm going to go back one keyframe, create a keyframe here, and go forward a frame, and then I'm going to change it to 0 for the A. And then we'll go forward, we'll go back to this, we'll click on the C here, and we'll go forward until it strikes the C right there, and we'll do the same thing. Go back one, and then we'll click on the keyframe for its invert right here, and then we'll go forward a frame, get the keyframe to 0% there, and then we'll go forward a few more, and as soon as it hits the E, in fact, I'm going to just stop it there, hit a keyframe here because I know it's almost time for it to strike, and then as soon as it hits the base of it, I'm going to change it to 0. And then let's see what that looks like. Great. That's fun. That's a lot of fun. Now, I guess the only thing I would probably change is, like, you know, where the E is, because it's a little bit there. I don't want to change that, though, because I have to change everything. All right, so once again, I'm going to take my text. I'm just going to add my name up here, maybe towards the bottom. No bellow. I'll make that a good deal smaller. And I'll just leave it inverted like that with the text like that is. All right, so let's see what that looks like one more time without the save margins. All right, cool. And great. And so like I said before, you can put whatever letters you want on there. You can have it be, you know, your initials. You can have it be your favorite sports team. You can have more than 3 if you'd like. Obviously, the sky's the limit with the number of bounces you put in. If you want to do your entire first name, that'd be fun. But at least 3 letters is what I'm looking for. And make sure they start one color and they change to a different color. Make sure they do something fun. You can do the invert. You can do something else. But all right. So cannot wait to see you guys produce. Go ahead and export that as an MP4, and I will see you guys in class.